So in the last 15 years, there has been a trend when it's come to modern day cinema, and this trend is cinematic universes. We've obviously got Marvel, which is top dog at the moment. DC is kind of growing. We've got the Unbreakable series, which is kind of the niche genre. But me and Sense are going to talk about the problem of cinematic universes and what we could do to change them.
Yes, what we can do to change them. Well, after this, we're going to go out and fix every cinematic universe. Or just delete them at this point.
Just delete them. Wow, that's a bit... I don't want them deleted. I like cinematic universe.
Of course you do. You're a comic book fan. It's like your
yes,
bread
I am.
and butter. This is like the only people that like the only people that like cinematic universe are comic book fans.
No, I don't know.
They do.
Nah.
Let's start with Marvel. Let's start with the big one, right?
Okay, let's start with Marvel.
Whenever a new Marvel film's announced, right, average people, average cinema goers, they're like, maybe I'll check it out. With comic book fans, it's like a call to war. You know, you announce a Marvel film, you have to be there to show your support to your beloved Marvel.
I mean,
like, you have to go.
yes and no. Like, I think the problem with Marvel itself is that a lot of the films kind of have the same kind of flow. Like, they obviously have the bad guy, and they obviously beat the bad guy, and then the bad guy dies because Marvel always kills the bad guy, and then it's always like rubbish jokes, and you know, good guys always win. Very cookie cutter, and it's mostly leading to another film in the next couple of years. That's the only problem. Well, I mean, I get what you're coming from there. Yeah, I think it was Martin Scorsese that literally compared Marvel films to theme parks, and people got salty about that. But I do think he's very right to a degree. You know, a lot of these films now are there to, you know, push products, push merchandise, push subscriptions to Disney Plus now. I get where he's coming from. I don't completely agree with what he's saying, but I do get where he was coming from. What you sort of said there sort of makes sense. It's a formula. But my biggest beef with it now is that when does it end? You know, that Endgame, the Infinity Saga, Endgame is a very good film because it's a conclusion. But to get to that conclusion, Afro, you need to watch just under 50 hours worth of films to get to that conclusion now. That's how long the Infinity Saga is. 23 films, in fact. That is a lot. I'm not going to lie, that is a lot. But there's some TV shows that are like, I mean, Game of Thrones was 80 hours-ish.
Yeah, but that's different, though, when it comes to...
Why is that different?
I know, but that's actually a good point that you say that, is that when you say that, how many people are going to go back to start watching Game of Thrones now that it's finished?
I mean, you're right. There's not a lot of rewatchability, especially because it ended terribly.
Yeah, exactly. And now for someone to get the full effect of Endgame, you're gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to watch Endgame. You're gonna be wagging your finger, Afro, like, no. You have to watch 50 hours of films to get the full appreciation for Endgame. And that's my beef with it a little bit now. That when does it stop? You know, it's the old saying, quality over quantity. Like the Lord of the Rings films, the original Star Wars films, they're not too long to watch and fully appreciate those films. But with Endgame, to fully appreciate Endgame now, you have to watch a freaking ridiculous amount of films.
Yeah, you know what? I do understand that point, because I think one of the reasons why I loved Infinity War and Endgame was because I did watch all the other films.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we grew up watching them.
Yeah, so if you missed like Black Panther, if you missed Guardians, you would not have that same connection with the characters in that film and like the importance of what's happening in those films. So exactly, I do understand that, and I do think that there are films that aren't not as good as the others. Like, there's obviously more focus on Black Panther than there is with Ant-Man and the Wasp, sorry, you know. There's just like, it's just you can tell, you know, just by the way they market it. Like, even this Black Widow film, like, you know, Scarlett Johansson was not happy, and she shouldn't be, because they've kind of like put her on the side and they've released a film after her character died.
Yeah,
which is so peak.
Well, her peak was like maybe 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's the and
that sort of goes into my other beef with it, and I call this the comic book issue, right? My comic book issue here is that when it comes to universes, and you obviously you love your comics, how many times do we need to always reboot a universe so that they can retell or reimagine characters that we know? You know, how long is it going to take for Disney and Marvel to think, we're still selling a load of Iron Man costumes and masks. Robert Downey Jr. is way too expensive now, so we're not really going to get him back, to be honest. There's no point. We need to think about the future. He's only going to do a handful if he ever does do anything back again.
Yeah.
How... It keeps I feel like it just makes characters stale, and I don't want to go into this when like obviously Captain America. I don't want it every time they want to replace a character to be, will they live up to the former Captain America, or will they live up to Black Panther? Or, like it's it'll become such a boring show. Like Chris Pratt will probably won't be doing Star Lord over and over. So they'll need a new Star Lord and stuff like that. And it's I don't know. I find that that's the comic book issue, is that now that they've got this universe set, unless they make it a massive plot point and then reset the universe, you're stuck with what you've done for the last 15 years now, which it has its benefits, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it feels a bit boring that you're going to be just stuck with these characters. You can't really do this interpretation, but you've got all this multiverse stuff, but I don't care what anyone says. The average cinema goer does not give a shit about this multiverse stuff. It's too complicated. We're simple people.
I mean, you're just hurting me here, but I understand your point. I understand.
I like the films, right? I'm more focused on the average thing, right? But that's why I said, for comic book fans, this is a dream come true, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But I just don't think how they're gonna, like, if they bring in a new Iron Man and there's like through multiverse, imagine trying to have that same explanation to an average person over and over again. Like they'll be like, "What's the multiverse? How does that work?"
No, you're right. You're 100. You're 100% right, but that's why I feel like they shouldn't involve a lot of time elements and stuff like that. I mean, I know they're doing it now. So
Pandora's box, that.
Yeah, I know they're doing it now, but I'm hoping they don't exploit it as much as they plan to. Yeah. But I think one of the problems is that in comics, like a lot of characters is also like different genres of comics.
Yeah.
You know, so like if you want to read a darker tone of comics, you read a dark character like, I don't know, like Punisher or something. You know, he's very violent, he's very bloody. And then if you want something like fun and good-hearted, you would read Skrill Girl, you know, because she's just funny and just like nothing to worry about. Right. With Marvel, you don't have that, which is a problem for me, even as a comic book fan. I love seeing all these big characters, all the budget go into it, but it is mostly the same genre, like except for.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, except for there's only a couple that I can say that has completely different genres. Maybe like Winter Soldier is a bit more thriller based.
Yeah. That, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I feel like with comic books they have a bit more charm to them. You know, there's a bit more charm, but with the cinematic universe, it's a bit different. That they need to make sure that everything's ticking along nicely, and they don't want to risk it too much. Even though they've got such a loyal legion of fans, they don't want to risk that. And I think that's an issue there, is that they've got all this. They've got the tone established for this universe, you know, and they know what people like. And everyone likes these films, so why would they want to, like, I'm very intrigued to see how they bring Deadpool into this universe, for example. I know they keep saying it will be whatever, but this is still being made by Disney, and it's still, you know, I don't care. Disney will not want to put their name on something where someone's getting beheaded over and over again.
Yeah. Or if they make like a crude joke or something like that, and that is the problem. Yeah. I think Disney's kind of policy of not having a lot of violence is actually going to hinder them going forward, because how can you introduce so many different characters that have so many different personalities and, you know, so unique, even when it comes to storytelling, if you're just limited to a 12A like comedy cookie cutter kind of thing. And this is why I think going forward, I think DC has the advantage going here, because they do not have that formula. They can do what they want, really.
I think with DC, I really hope, I know that the Flash is coming down or whatever, but I really hope that the Batman film for a person does do well, really well, because then they'll be like, alright, let's go back to just telling the stories of these characters. And I think that's why I don't like Cinematic Universe as much anymore, because it really just bogs everything down, you know. I don't know, I prefer films that are just focused on the protagonist
and a few others in the film. But I don't want to give a shit about other implications of recent events from other films. I don't mind Easter eggs. Easter eggs are fun. Remember back before Marvel came around, where a cinematic universe was that the pizza van from the Pixar films was in different films, you know, from Toy Story. I like that idea of a cinematic universe. It's a good Easter egg, you know. I like those little, and it's good for like fans that watch. Like, oh look, it's the pizza van, you know. It's a fun little Easter egg that it's in the same fictional world. I don't want to be bogged down by other events from other films, you know. And I think that's why, like what you said with DC, they've really got a good thing where they can just do like an anthology for their characters and keep them separate, and then just really deliver quality films.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I think the problem with that is that the cinematic universe kind of support those characters that don't have that many good stories on their own. So Batman is an example of someone who has very good villains, very good side characters. Like, he's just an A1 superhero compared to someone like, I don't know, like the Ant-Man. Ant-Man is not an A+ superhero. Like, he doesn't have that many good storylines to go off all side characters. So they kind of need that cinematic universe to get other people in, and other, you know, scenarios that's happening in different films to kind of support their film. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but then I get what you're saying to support smaller characters, but at the same time, it sort of like has a negative effect. Like, imagine if Ant-Man just came out as a complete standalone, you know, and it's just a film about a man that can shrink to the size of an ant and whatever. I think it would have a better chance of making more of an impact than it just being the bottom of the barrel for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know it's different because it's like that, it's Marvel characters, so it's hard to do that, but I think sometimes when you're just lumping films into this universe, to like, it's like you're feeding the beast. Ant-Man, throw him in, you know, throw all these characters in over and over and tie them into the universe to make them have a chance. Just take a risk, make it be a standalone. I don't know, like, another thing what I like about more trilogies or films that are more focused, that don't really care about cinematic universe, is that it just gives you a new fresh world to explore. You know, whether it's an established character, you get new actors or actresses come in with their own take on the character. I don't know, I like having a definitive conclusion to a character rather than it being dragged out for over 15 years, for example, or over ridiculously amount of films that aren't really relevant to the character, or the character's not the main character of their story. You know, I don't like that. I like a beginning, middle and ends. Call me old fashioned, but that is the oldest. It's the oldest sort of way to do a story, because it's the way it's the most effective way to tell a story. You know, it's a beginning where you meet the character, a middle where there's conflict, and it ends where the character's grown from what you saw from the beginning. And it's harder to sort of maintain that when you've got a character, you've got an actor, you sign him up for a 7-year deal, so you need to stretch his character arc out for 7 films. You know, and I don't know. I don't know. I prefer it when it's a bit more definitive to a character's conclusion. I don't want to drag it out.
I understand that, but I do think there has been some good examples. Like, I mean, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man's a very good example, you know. In the first one, he was very obnoxious. Yeah. And then his last film, he saved the whole multiverse.
You know what I mean? But it's over freaking 15. How many film appearances did he have?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, like, there's character arcs in these films, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, I get that. And I love Iron Man. You know he's my favourite. He's my boy.
Yeah,
my favourite character. But George Lucas accomplished it with Luke Skywalker over 3 films.
Yeah, true. That is true.
You know, there's plenty of things with trilogies like that if we see a character's growth. But I don't know, I think I just haven't got the time to waste now on cinematic universes.
Yeah. I think, I mean, no, that's a good point, because, for example, if you miss the Loki series, are you gonna miss a big but are you gonna miss a big thing about, like, Doctor Strange or something like that?
That's
you know
the thing. I mean? Yeah, and it's just too much to catch up with, you know. And
exactly.
I don't know, and we love our superhero films, and we're sort of like,
I mean, I do.
We're already. I know you do, but I'm already picking and choosing what I want to watch next, you know. So how is an average person that's not really ever watched Marvel going to be like, this is a bit too much for me? It's going to be the same with other cinematic universe when they develop, be like, that's a bit too much, you know. What's an original film like Dune that's just come out, for example? No ties to any cinematic universes. I
love that.
Exactly. It's come out, and obviously, you know, people already knew about from the books, but it's just come out as its own standalone film, and it's getting rave reviews. And I think that is what I like. I want to see more films popping out and taking chances like that, rather than playing it safe and saying, oh, it's part of this cinematic universe, don't worry, your favourite character have a little cameo, you know. Get out of here.
No, you make some good points, and to be honest, I do think it's a worrying thing, and I think one of the biggest problems is that a lot of cinema goers are really young, so they can just ride the wave. You know, a lot of kids Disney's focused on kids. And their biggest market is kids, unfortunately.
And we're not kids anymore, Afro.
Yeah, exactly. We're not kids anymore. You know, when the first Avengers film came out, it was just such a mind-blowing thing for me.
It's the new trend, it's gone from where every film needs to have a sequel to every film needs to be in a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
It's just what's the trend now, so we're just going to be on for the rides, you know.
Exactly.
Hopefully we get some good films in this universe, in these universes, but I don't know. I might. I'm just going to go up to my mountain and watch some standalone films. I don't know how this is all going to work together. I hope it does, but at the same time, I feel like the wheels are going to start falling off a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.